Okay, this is my crowd of 3 people and my visual aids, as well as I'm wearing one. Okay, Fleetwood Mac was one of the most important bands of the 70s and 80s. They were an extremely popular band. Some would say one of the most important of all time. They have gone through a lot of the changes over the years, including genre changes. They were originally a R&B, jazz type of band, but then progressed into soft rock. Initially, the founders of the band were John McVie, Mick Fleetwood, Peter Green, as well as another guitarist. They were not extremely popular during this time, but they did have some success as they were able to be full-time musicians and tour everywhere, but they were not what they were known for, which is Fleetwood Mac with another lineup. The guitarist and Peter Green at one point were spiraling into alcoholism, so they had to be removed from the lineup. Some consider Peter Green to be their favorite age of Fleetwood Mac, but it is not what it's known for. I think people just like to reminisce on the older times and go against the grain and say it was their favorite. They have a few good songs with that genre, but I don't think they charted ever, or if they did, not very high with any of their songs during that time. But Mick Fleetwood had to get a replacement for them, so he then got another guitarist to replace him, as well as bringing in Christy McVie, which was John McVie's wife. She played piano and sang a bit, and this is when they started to gain popularity, as her voice was really compelling and her songwriting ability was top-notch. Some albums that were during this time were Penguin, Heroes Are Hard to Find, and those charted actually, and not number one, but they did pretty well. They sold a ton of albums, but they were having some troubles with the guitarist, so they had to bring in someone new. And so Mick Fleetwood one day was at one of his friend's studios, and they were listening to a new album, which was Buckingham Nicks, which was a new duo that was on the scene trying to make it into the music industry. And he really liked the guitar player, the way he played, but not especially the singer. So he got in contact with Lindsey Buckingham and tried to convince him to join. And he said he would join, but only if Stevie Nicks would join as well, which was his girlfriend at the time. Mick was not totally into it, but he agreed to do it just because he really liked the guitarist. And that actually helped him out, because the first album that they made, which was their self-titled album, Fleetwood Mac, charted hugely and propelled them into being one of the biggest bands in the world, if not the biggest band in the world. And an interesting thing about that is that actually one of the songs that they chose was on Buckingham Nicks, and this is one of the tees from the promotional thing for the album, which is the self-titled album. This t-shirt's from 1976, and yeah, they continued to have lots of success. And some other albums they had, which was Rumors, which is considered one of the top 10 albums of all time. Rolling Stone puts it at like number 12, I think, but it can vary from year to year. Sometimes it's placed as high as 8, but sometimes some of the top 10 albums ever created. So they were very popular. And they also, some other of their greatest albums were Tusk, and Tango in the Night, and Mirage. Those are all considered classics. Not as popular as Rumors, but classics nonetheless. And then one day, Lindsey Buckingham, after creating the Tango in the Night album, he decided he did not want to go on tour, and so they got into a ton of fight, and he said, "I'm not doing it anymore," so he left the group. And then after that, they created 2 or 3 albums which did not do very well because Lindsay was not the producer, which created them to have such great albums. So those albums did not do very well. They even had to bring in 2 replacements. And but then 20 years later, he decides he wants to join back with the Say You Will album, and it turns out to be a great album. It charts very well despite what they thought was going to happen. They thought it was going to flop because they didn't think they had any fans anymore, but it did very well. And they're even popular today as they're trending with on TikTok with a guy who created a TikTok with him having the song be Dreams, which is their #1 song, and it's still popular today. And they're still here, and good.